This download is the only extract the BBC has of this edition of Desert Island Discs. The presenter was Roy Plumley.
Richard, you were born in Hollywood, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Either of your parents connected with the film industry?
No.
As a youngster, what did you want to be?
Well, it seemed to me I always wanted to be an actor. I've always been fascinated by the theatre.
What did you study at college?
Painting, oddly enough, as a kind of second choice, because I thought acting was probably too much of a gamble.
In Los Angeles, of course, you hadn't had much opportunity to see live theatre, had you?
No, very little. I hear the situation is changing now.
Good. Did you do a lot of student drama at college?
Yes, I did. I spent most of my time in the theatre there, to the dismay of my other teachers.
What happened when you left?
I was almost immediately drafted into the army and spent 2 years serving in the army.
Yes, you were sent to Korea?
In Korea, yes. Luckily after the war.
Yes. Was it a rough assignment, nevertheless?
Well, it was, because we were isolated in a tiny Korean village the whole time for 16 months, and there was almost nothing to do. It was very, very boring.
So what happened when you came back to the States?
I started trying to prepare myself to be an actor. I took dancing lessons and acting lessons and singing lessons.
Being California-based, your sights were set on television and films mainly?
Yes, television's really the easiest place for an actor to start.
Did you find work easy to come by?
No, I didn't. I found it impossible for about 2 years. And then I found a very good agent who began to get me work in television as a freelance actor.
What sort of parts?
All kinds of parts. I did some westerns, both as good guy and bad guy. I was an assassin one time in a modern play.
Yes.
And spoiled rich kid once. And
you did a pilot as hero for a television western series.
yes, it was called The Paradise Kid. And we all thought it was super when we did it, but I saw it a few years ago and it was hysterical. I mean, I couldn't ride or anything. It was very funny.
And then you did another pilot for a series that came off in a big way.
Yes, the Kildare pilot in February of 1961.
Now, Dr. Kildare, this had originally been a series of feature films in the late 30s and 40s, hadn't it?
Yes, I think they made about 18 of them. They were
18?
very successul.
What was the origination? Was it original film material, or was it based on a book or a magazine story?
No, it came from a book.
Now, I gather for television they'd cast Raymond Massey as the older doctor, and they were casting around for the young intern. Had they tested many young actors?
Well, they had about 30, in fact.
Of course, it was important that it was someone who would get on well with Mr. Massey.
Yes. Yes, we had worked together in my second job. It was a Alfred Hitchcock Presents television show.
Yes.
I played his son, and we got on very well.
Oh, that was useful. You were Dr. Kildare for 5 years, I think.
5 years.
How many stories was that?
About 170.
Really?
Yes.
An hour long each?
An hour each.
And seen, I gather, in 31 countries.
I think so, yes.
Well, this made you what is known in the film business as a hot property. You had an enormous weekly audience. Apart from the financial side, did this make a lot of difference to your life?
Well, yes, it changes one's life completely because one suddenly becomes public property. Literally, for a television sort of hero.
Yes, this meant you couldn't go into a shop or a bar or whatever without being recognized or, at worst, mobbed.
Yes, that's right. Seemed to be known everywhere.
Now, on Kildare, 170 hour-long stories. This must have been a grueling production line.
Yes, it was. We had about a 10-hour day, 5-day-a-week job for one season. Well, we had maybe 8 weeks off between seasons.
And during these layoff times, you could make a feature film.
Yes, we squeezed in 2 sort of half-baked movies.
So, after 5 years, it must have been with, well, perhaps a sigh of relief that you tossed your stethoscope aside.
It was, in fact, because I was very anxious to get on to other things.
So, after 5 years, you discarded Dr. Kildare. What next?
I went to New York and did some, what we call summer stock, 2 plays. And then Philadelphia Story and Private Lives.
Yes.
And then I went back to California, and then I was offered Breakfast at Tiffany's.
The musical?
A very big musical.
Yes.
And I was thrilled to death about it, really, and went to New York. We worked very hard on it and played it out of town for a couple of months, and then proceeded to go back into New York and flop miserably, disastrously with it.
Bad luck. But this really wasn't a waste of time, was it?
No, not at all. Not at all. It was a great experience in its way. And I was renting Cyril Richard's apartment at the time. He was working in Connecticut, and he wrote me a note after the great crash, rather, and said, you know, it's a good thing that it happened now, because failure is very much a part of our business, and it's about time you found out.
Yes. And then you did a film that was rather a success.
Yes, Petulia. I thought it was an excellent film. Richard Lester directed it.
Yes. Then you decided to come and live here in Britain for a spell. Why was that?
Well, I had an intuition that this was the place where I could get the best training and where I could have the opportunity of playing the greatest variety of roles, and it turned out to be true.
You did some films here and some television, and then the biggest test in an actor's career.
Yes, I played Hamlet at Birmingham with the Birmingham Rep.
And in fact, you were the first American actor to play Hamlet here for what, 40 or 50 years?
Yes, since John Barrymore.
How did you feel about it when you were given the proposition?
Well, I found it a terrifying idea, and in fact turned it down. About 99%. I left myself that 1% of choice, and then began to study the play and fell in love with it, and thought, well, I probably would never get another opportunity. So I said yes. Besides, I felt rather safe being in Birmingham. I didn't think the London papers would come up and review it.
Well, I don't think any of them missed it. And you've got some excellent notices. There was talk of the production coming to London, wasn't there?
Yes, there was. We would have liked to have brought it in very much, but I had another commitment in America.
But you are going to make a film of that production, a
telefilm. Yes, we're going to tape it for television here and for America this spring.
Now, what else have you been doing? You were in the new film production of Julius Caesar.
Yes, and in a picture called The Mad Woman of Chaillot.
Yes.
From the play, which was shown here recently. And I have a little company, and we're trying to put together a film for next year.
And one thing you've left out is this Tchaikovsky film you've just made.
Yes. Ken Russell directed it, and it's going to be a fantastic film, much different from any other film biography, I think, ever made.
Well, now, you've got hold of the reins. You can more or less control your career, build your career the way you want. Which way do you want it to go? You've got this production company, you're setting up a film.
Yes.
Do you want to produce and direct?
I think what I really want to do is, with the company and through other means, to work in the theatre and films, mainly as an actor. I mean, acting is really my great love. Directing is fascinating. I'm not sure I know enough about it to do it. But that remains to be seen, I think.
And to work on both sides of the Atlantic?
Yes, I love working here, and yet I miss America.